If you have back pain or knee pain that has followed you for years, the kind that meets you the moment your feet touch the floor in the morning, I want you to sit with me for a few minutes tonight. You have stopped doing things you used to love, the long walks, the garden, bending down to pick up a grandchild without thinking twice. And somewhere along the way, you stopped expecting it to get better. You just started working around it. That is not your fault. Your doctor looked at the scan, pointed to the space between the bones, and told you it was wear and tear, degenerative, something you would need to manage for the rest of your life. And you believed him because what else were you supposed to do? But in Japanese medicine, this pain does not begin in the joint. It never did. The joint is where you feel it, but it is not where it starts. The actual source is somewhere most Western doctors have never been trained to check, and it explains why nothing you have tried so far has worked for long. Once you understand where this pain actually begins, something shifts. Not in theory, in your body. Tonight, I am going to show you a 2-minute practice using something already sitting in your kitchen. No equipment, no pills, no appointment. Many people who try it feel a difference by morning, and I will explain exactly why that happens. So let me tell you what your doctor was never taught to look for, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The pain you feel in your knee or low in your back is not coming from a worn-out joint. It is coming from cold that has settled deep in the body and stopped moving. Think of a small mountain stream in the wintertime. When the water flows, it stays clear, and the stones underneath stay warm enough to live. But when the cold sits on top of the water and does not move, the stream begins to freeze from the edges inward. The stones underneath go quiet. The life around it slows down. And by the time you notice the stream is frozen, the cold has already been working for a long, long time. This is what happens in the body. The blood is the stream. The joints are the stones. When the body's warmth stops circulating the way it should, the cold gathers in the lowest, slowest places. The low back, the knees, the hips. And in those places, the tissue stops being fed. The fluid that cushions the joint thickens. The nerves around it grow tight and angry. And what you feel, what wakes you up in the morning, what makes you brace yourself before you stand is not the bone wearing down. It is the body crying out for warmth it can no longer reach on its own. This is why the creams do not work. They warm the skin for an hour and then the cold returns. This is why the pills do not work. They quiet the messenger but never visit the place the message is coming from. This is why the stretches do not work. You cannot stretch what is frozen. You have to thaw it first. And this is what I have watched over 60 years of caring for the people in my village. The body at any age can be warmed again, but every year this goes unattended. The cold sits a little deeper, and the body has a harder time finding its way back. This is the kind of thing that does not announce itself loudly. It just slowly takes back the life you used to have. Before I tell you what to do tonight, I want to tell you about someone who sat in my kitchen not long ago. Her name is Margaret. She is 71 from a small town outside Cleveland, Ohio. She spent 34 years as an elementary school teacher, and she has a laugh that fills the whole room when something delights her. Her daughter married a man from Kyoto, and that is how Margaret found her way to my door. When she arrived, she could not bend her right knee past a certain point. The back pain had been with her for 9 years. She had tried the cortisone injections. She had tried the physical therapy. She had tried the supplements her neighbor swore by. Her doctor had already begun the conversation about a knee replacement, and she was terrified of it. She told me she had stopped getting down on the floor to play with her grandchildren because she did not know if she could get back up. I made her tea, and I told her what I am about to tell you. I sent her home with the practice I will give you in a moment. I asked her to do it every night for 2 weeks. She called her daughter on the 4th morning. The first thing she said was that she had walked from the bed to the kitchen without holding the wall. By the end of the 2nd week, she was back in her garden, kneeling on a cushion, planting tomatoes. By the end of the month, she got down on the floor with her granddaughter and she got back up on her own. That is the road I want to walk you down tonight. Here is what you will need. 1 piece of fresh ginger root, the kind you can find in any grocery store. A small knife, 1 square of medical tape or a bandage that wraps around the foot, and a pair of clean socks. That is everything. Take the ginger and cut a slice about the thickness of a coin. Then chop that slice into small, rough pieces, the size of grains of rice. You want enough to fill a teaspoon, no more. The ginger does not need to be perfect. The body is not looking for presentation. It is looking for warmth. Now I want you to find a spot on the bottom of your foot, in the very center, just behind the ball of the foot, in the soft hollow where the arch begins. In our tradition, we call this the bubbling spring. It is the place where the body's warmth begins its journey back up through the legs. When the cold has settled in your knees and your back, this is the gate that has gone quiet. This is the gate we are going to open. Place the chopped ginger directly on that spot. Press it gently with your thumb so it stays. Then take the medical tape or the bandage and secure it across the foot, just enough to hold the ginger in place. Do not wrap it tight. The body does not respond to tightness. It responds to steadiness. Then pull the sock on over the top. You do this just before you get into bed. The ginger will sit there all night, slowly warming the gate, and the warmth will travel exactly the way it was meant to travel. Up through the calf, through the back of the knee, into the low back. By the time you wake, the cold that has been sitting in those places has been visited for the first time in years. In the morning, you remove the sock, peel away the tape, and rinse the foot with warm water. That is the whole practice. 2 minutes to set it. 8 hours of quiet work while you sleep. Do this every night for 2 weeks. The first 3 nights, you may feel a gentle tingling in the foot as you fall asleep. That is the gate beginning to open. By the 4th or 5th morning, you will likely notice that the first step out of bed is easier. By the 2nd week, the stiffness that has been your morning companion for years begins to loosen its grip. This is not magic. This is the body doing what it has always known how to do, the moment you give it the warmth it has been asking for. What the people in my village tell me, and what Margaret told me on the phone last spring, is always the same shape. They say the morning feels different. They say they forgot what it was like to put weight on the leg without thinking first. One woman told me she did not realize how much of her day had been spent bracing against the pain until the bracing stopped. Another said her knee felt warm from the inside for the first time in 15 years. These are not the things I tell them to expect. These are the things they tell me the next time they come to visit. So that is what you will do tonight. But before you go, there is one more thing I want you to understand, because the people who get the best results are the ones who hear this part too. The ginger on the foot will quiet the pain. For many of you, that will be enough, and you can take this practice with my blessing and use it for the rest of your life. But if you have ever wondered why the cold settled in your body in the first place, or why it keeps trying to come back even after you warm it, stay with me for the next 2 minutes. This is what I tell the people who sit across from me at the kitchen table. What I have noticed over the years is that the cold in the joints is rarely the beginning of the story. Underneath the cold is inflammation. A low, quiet fire that has been burning in the body for years, slowing the circulation, thickening the fluid in the joints, telling the nerves to stay on alert. The cold settles because the inflammation has made the body's warmth weak. And the inflammation, when you trace it back far enough, almost always comes from the same place: the gut. The gut is where the body decides every day whether to be at peace or to be on fire. When the gut is well, the inflammation quiets, the circulation strengthens, and the cold has nowhere to settle. When the gut is troubled, the fire spreads outward and it finds the lowest, slowest places to live. The knees, the back, the hips, the very places the ginger reaches at night. The gut needs 3 things to do this work. It needs good living bacteria. It needs the fiber that those bacteria feed on. And it needs the healing compounds those bacteria make once they are fed. When the gut has all 3, the inflammation steadies, and when the inflammation steadies, the pain in the back and the knees stops returning the way it has been. This is what I give the people who come to me alongside the ginger, and these are the ones whose results last the longest. In my village, we have used a fermented tea called kombucha for generations. It is the one simple drink that gives the gut all 3 of these things at once: the bacteria, the fiber, and the healing compounds. I drink a small glass of it every day, and I have given it to the people in my care for as long as I have been doing this work. I make my own kombucha at home because I have the time and the knowledge, but for everyone watching online who can't brew their own, I give BoochBod Kombucha Gummies. The link is in the description, or you can search BoochBod Kombucha Gummies on Amazon. I want to leave you with Margaret. She is 72 now. Last month, her daughter sent me a photograph of her kneeling in the garden behind her house in Ohio, planting bulbs for the spring. She is laughing at something the camera did not catch. Her grandchildren are running past her in the background. That road is open to you too. Not because of anything special about her, because the body at 70 and 75 and 80 still knows exactly how to do this work. It has only been waiting to be given what it needs. So tonight before you sleep, try the ginger. Open the gate. And if this video has spoken to something you have been carrying for too long, please subscribe, share it with someone you love who is hurting the same way, and leave me a comment below. I read every single comment on this channel. Until next time.